Hey folks, welcome back to another video. Black and White has been out for about a week now, and people are excited. There are some cool new cards in this set. They're shaking some things up a little bit. Golden Go is popping off. Maridon is back. Hildy's helping out Dragapult a little bit, and you know, the air balloon is kind of just smoothing out some edges here and there for decks. So it's been really fun to get about a week of testing in. And as promised, I have been cooking up this weird Hildy enriching energy Charizard. I don't want to call it a mess. It's actually pretty fun and it's working better than I expected at this point. I have not had a chance, obviously, to play it in anything super serious other than just ranked ladder. But I am having a fair bit of success on ranked on the ladder. I've been winning most of my games with this list. And it's just been a ton of fun to just draw, not have to worry about hand disruption, not have to worry about getting retreat locked. And let's look into why that is. So we've got the Charizard Pidgeot that we all know and love with the Garde-Smarde engine. Now, it's not my favorite engine. I'm going to say that out right now. Because runaway draw with shuffling cards back into your deck, it's hard to really feel like you're digging down through your deck because it's constantly getting churned back up, and the two Garde-Smarde are constantly going back in, so it can just kind of feel a little iffy at times. But paired with Hilda, who can find an evolution Pokemon and an energy card, and running enriching energy as our ace spec, which lets us, when we attach it to a Pokemon, we get to draw 4 cards. And because we're playing Charizard, we don't have to worry about wasting our attach for turn with enriching energy. So what we can do is we can Hilda or a Garde-Smarde and an enriching energy, attach the enriching energy for turn to the Garde-Smarde, and that and draw 4 cards. And then when we use runaway draw, all the Garde-Smarde and attached cards get shuffled back into the deck, including the enriching energy, which means that we can get another Hilda and then do this all again next turn. And Hilda essentially turns into a draw 7 for us, which is kind of insanely powerful, especially in the early turns of the game. If you can get a couple Garde-Smarde set up, rip a Hilda, you can see 7 to 10 cards, and that's usually enough to get you Rare Candy Pidgeot, which turns into Rare Candy Charizard. And then you're just kind of popping off from there. Now, if you are Badoo locked, of course, you won't be able to rare candy, but we do have our way to get into the Evos. A 1-1 line, so it's a bit thinner. But what's really helpful with that is that you can fan call on your first turn, grab a Pidgey, grab a Worm, and also grab a Pidgeotto to kind of get yourself set up if we think that we might need to slow roll the Evo line a little bit. Otherwise, if they are item locking you, it's still not the end of the world because we are running Fan Rotom. We are running 2 copies of Artisan. So realistically, it's not too crazy to expect to be able to rip some early game assault landings, which is typically how I look to take my first couple of prize cards. Because going aggressive with the 70 damage assault landing is just a really crazy early game attack. You can be knocking out some stage 1, like some basics like Dreepies or Routses or Badoos, all those sorts of things if you're going against an Evo deck. Otherwise, you can kind of get into an early Zard and start ripping some Burning Darknesses right away if you're playing against a more aggressive deck like Raging Bolt or Golden Go. Speaking of, we also have the Chi-Yu, which is very strong into both of those aggro decks. Mega Fire of Envy hits Golden Go for weakness, it hits Teal Mask Ogerpon for weakness, and is an excellent 1-prize attacker into both of those aggressive options. Now, the only weird card here that I'd say feel free to play around with, cut if you wish, would be the Enhanced Hammer. And that is because with Hilda, actually even before Hilda, in Destined Rivals, a lot of Dragapult lists were drifting more towards the Neo Upper Energy. And even if they weren't running Neo Upper Energy, they were running lots of Luminous Energy, which Enhanced Hammer does a great job of kind of setting the Dragapult behind at least a turn. or possibly preventing them from getting their attachment onto a Monkey Dory, which has actually closed me out some games. I've enhanced hammer, gotten rid of the luminous energy that was attached to the Dragapult. So then the following turn, instead of being able to attach a luminous energy to the Monkey Dory that was on their bench, they had to attach it to their active Dragapult instead, which meant that that 30 damage was not coming back my way, which just kind of led to me being able to close out a game that I should have otherwise lost. So I think the enhanced hammer, you know, it's really only for the Dragapult matchup, but that is probably our worst matchup of the meta decks right now. So for me, it feels like I still like having it. But again, that's totally a slot where you could play around with. I could see adding like another Charmeleon if you're really worried about not being able to hit rare candy. You could even add another rare candy. You could add a fourth Hilda, a second Turo. You know, there's other things that could be in that slot. So I would not be upset if you had ideas. Speaking of, share those down below. I'd love to workshop this. This is by no means, I think, a perfect 60. But it has been a fun list. The other card I would consider cutting would be the Garde-Smarde EX. On paper, it seems like it would be a good early game attacker, which it can be into decks like, Joltik Box or Raging Bolt. But it doesn't really feel like it's coming up quite enough to be there, especially because Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon's really not that prevalent. But who knows? If you're seeing a lot of Cornerstone Masks, then having that the Garde-Smarde EX is still pretty strong too. Of course, we've got the Briar. If I run Charizard with Pidgeot, where you can tutor out the Briar, I think it's always a good card to have in your deck. We've got one Monkey with a Luminous, which has felt like kind of enough to keep up with spread decks. It feels really good into Dragapult, into Grimmsnarl, so I like having that in the deck as well. Again, like I said, we're not using our attachments for our attackers, so we always have pretty much a free turn to slap a Luminous onto a Monkey Dory. It's pretty simple to do. And then I mentioned being retreat lock proof, and that comes from our Jet Energy. If they gust up our Pidgeot and use corner on it, what we can do is we can slap Jet Energy onto one of our worms and then use Runaway Draw once it's in the active. That puts our Jet Energy and the worms back into the deck, which then we are free to promote whatever Pokemon we want into the active. And then Jet Energy is there again in case they try to retreat lock us later on in the game. So it's even better than like a Switch or a Prime Catcher or an Iron Leaves, because we can do it over and over and over and over again. So that feels really, really good to be kind of immune to that in such a simple way. But I think I've talked long enough. My name's Jared. I'll be your gameplay nurse today. Okay, looks like we got ourselves a Gardevoir. Buddy, get a Charmander and a fan. Let's do a quick prize check. We got 3 Dunsparce prize, one of those. Got our Zard prized, or maybe in hand actually. Yeah, in hand. Let's see. Dunsparce. Prized a Pidgeot. Iono. Got our Hildies. Got our candies. Prized a Super Rod maybe. Prized a Fire. Okay. No, it didn't prize a Fire. Not too bad though. Not too bad. Did not prize an Iono. Okay, and then what's cool is we can fan call and get a worm. And we prize both Pidgeys. That's crazy work. Okay, well, we're gonna get a couple worms then. That's actually insane. Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Not too bad. I don't really want an Iono, but it would. That's not really even gonna help us that much. So no, I don't think we will. Let's just. I'll just attach here. And we'll call it a turn. I can't believe I prized both Pidgeys, bro. That's crazy. Okay. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Guess I had an Arven. Could I Iono? Secret boss? No, they... Yeah, I guess they could if they just discard the Evo. Oh, now they can't. Okay, so now... Well, I don't know. That's no problem. And also... Potentially Ultra Ball for Zard. It's Hildy! Never mind, we don't have to. Do I want to keep them with Secret Box, though? I mean, 7 cards, there's a pretty good chance we hit... What do you call it? Dude, I still can't believe we prized both the Pidgeys. Pretty good chance we hit a rare candy. Let's just see. Get that Mega Draw power going for us. Sure, missed it. That's okay. We'll run away here. And we'll hit it this time. There it is. And now... Let's just candy up a Zard. Hopefully there's 3 energy. I think, yeah, there is, because we have all 5. All good there. Oh, you know what this deck needs is a hot air balloon. I need to add that. I'll add that after this game. Okay. We'll leave this in case we get Iono'd. Since they are holding on to a secret box. And speaking of... No, we might pull a Pidgey here, so I don't want to Ultra Ball away the Pidgeotto. And I like holding the Poffins a bit longer. This'll be fine. Let's start smacking some monkeys. We'll wish that we had Air Balloon. Although with no Arven, that's kind of tough. Hard to say, hard to say. Yeah, at least I made them get rid of probably their only copy of boss. Although we did put them into counter catcher range. Do they have any? They got only dark energy in the discard, so they're still a bit behind on energy. That's good. Artisan's great. Okay. They're ahead on energy. But maybe they whiffed Gardevoir, you know? You never know. There's probably an Ultra Ball in hand here, though. So now they're going to have 5 energy in the discard from 1 turn. Nope, maybe not. Badingus. That is so rude. What are we nesting for? Fez, maybe? Screamtail. Nah. What can you do? We won 3 boss, I think. I wonder if it's worth it to... the boss here or not. I think it is, honestly. Yeah, a gang's all here. Okay, let's get rid of you just so that we can put down a Pidgey that's going to get Screamtailed. And then let's put down that Pidgey, like we promised. I don't see any signs of Jelly Scent, but I feel like I should... Oh, we can't. We're itchy. Never mind. Oh, well, we can Luminous our monkey. Which I don't know how much that's going to help us. Maybe we don't Luminous the monkey. And we hope that they itchy us again next turn. Let's Luminous now. Well, we can, but let's not move the damage. Maybe we'll save that. And then let's just boss up. We boss 1 Kirlia. Then becomes much more powerful to boss the next one, I suppose. And that's about it. I don't plan on... I mean, they got that 1 monkey with their Psychic Embrace nonsense. That would have been a good target as well, but I think this is okay for now. Likely going to say goodbye to our Pidgey here. But maybe not. Maybe they'll whiff the Guardia again. You never know. Could get lucky. Get that routes down. Uh-huh. Oh, there's the Gardevoir. Bummer, bro. Did have to toss a candy, though, so that means the routes is less good. All okay, though. Nice. Research on an empty hand. Always good. So let's see. They Guardy here. Oh, no, they Screamtail here. And we lose our Pidgey. We can... one fire in there. I kind of want to Super Rod the Pidgey back and just get it back on the bench. And I'm debating if it's worth it to... I think we just get a Charmeleon in play. Because if they... Although that would open up a Screamtail onto the Charmeleon next turn, which is bummer. So maybe we do Rare Candy. We run the 3. We have 3. So we can still hold one potentially for them to, how do you say, if we ever get a Pidgey going, which is not likely to happen. Becomes even more dangerous if they get a second monkey back in play. Oh, you're going crazy. Whoa, chill, chill. What do you need all that damage for? I'm gonna monkey you. You gonna kill my monkey? I mean, I'd love it if you killed my monkey. Thank you, actually. That is really helpful. Okay, we're cooking. We're cooking. All right, I like that. I like that a lot. I appreciate the help, buddy. Okay, let's get Candy Pidgey going. And then we don't get our monkey back ever, which is, you know, it is what it is. Let's get another Mander, and let's go for Ultra Ball, and just get a Charmeleon ready. Okay, I'm fine holding this in case we get whatevered. Do we have enough to justify a Super Rod? No. Definitely not. I don't want an Iono here. I'd love to boss up a Gardevoir. Thank you. Let's do that then. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Very cool. And then maybe they will be so kind as to bench a Pheasantipity for us or something. Or just concede, that works too. GG, friend. So something happened with the audio for this video. So I'm having to do a little voiceover later on. But I think this was still a weird, and I don't know, weird's not the right word. It was an interesting game. So I didn't want to lose the whole thing. So excuse me as I just kind of yap over it from memory. You won't get my decisions in real time, but instead of that, we can kind of pick apart what I did do, because I know there was some pretty egregious errors in this game, so we can kind of maybe take a look at what we could have done better. But we just opened up with the Dunsparce, no ball search. Luckily enough, had the Artisan to get the Fanrotom, to get the other Dunsparce and Pidgey, but did not get any Charmanders in play, which is kind of a bummer. Sets us back a turn on that front. Overall, though, not a bad opening. Would rather at least we had a way to get into Fanrotom, so we weren't totally dead in the water. So as far as things go, definitely could have been a lot worse. That's why I kind of really like the Hilda version of this deck, just because Fanrotom, Fan Call is such a strong ability that having access to both that and Assault Landing is such a powerful early game attack too, that honestly, like, one of the reasons I like this deck a lot is just because of Fanrotom. I think that that little guy gives quite a bit of power to any deck that he's in. Any deck that can utilize him, obviously. But yeah, I think that's quite strong. Now we have seen are beginning to see a rise in Klefki, which could cause an issue. Rocket's Watchtower, not so much, but definitely keeping an eye on how much Klefki we're seeing in Gardevoir is important, because that would shut off Fan Call, which would be quite annoying. But we got up against a Grim Snarl here, and they had a pretty good first turn. They were able to get their Frostlass and a Mogrim in play, so I'm sure they're pretty satisfied with that. Sorry, let me... Oh, nope, that's the cursor from... I thought that was my cursor from now, but it's the cursor from the game. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're pretty happy getting that going, getting Freezing Shroud damage pumping out early, especially when they're probably not 100% sure what we're playing right now. They'll know here in just a second once we grab this Charmander. Oh, I think I do a quick prize search here. Let's see. Missing maybe a candy. Nothing too crazy though. Nope, candy's in hand. So yeah, we're chilling on prizes. As far as like what to prioritize on prizing here, your evolution line, obviously, your energy count, and your rare candies. Those are the first three to look for. And then after that, if you would like, you can take a look at your supporters situation as well. But mainly probably just focus on the one-offs like Briar, Turo, that sort of thing. Easy way to just kind of make sure you're not getting overwhelmed with prize checking is to create like a priority system and make sure you're just prize checking for your most important cards first. And then as you get more comfortable, you can branch out and start prize checking for the less important cards. But we are getting to use the Enriching Energy draw engine here, which feels really good. We're able to Hilda to grab that special energy out of the deck, as well as get our Pidgeot going. I mean, even though we're a turn behind, like I feel like we're in a pretty good spot now. This feels really, really good. And now we can run away draw, get even more energy on board, or more cards in hand. And yeah, I mean, not too bad. I advanced Fan Rotom here, but they already have a Monkey Dory in with a Dark Energy attached, so I don't really feel like giving them more damage to work with is correct. If I had been able to like boss up the Impidimp, maybe that would be a good play, but I don't feel like just putting 70 damage into play for them is really going to benefit me in any kind of way. So I think I just end up not attacking here, which I still feel is the better move. I could have promoted Pidgeot instead after using the runaway draw. That way I would have committed a little less, and then if I still wanted to leave Fan Rotom in the active at the end of the turn, I definitely could have gone that route. But I didn't really need much, so we're just kind of quick searching for a rare candy to hold for next turn, because there's really not too much that I would need for this turn. Chance we get Iono'd, but I'd rather just use the quick search in case we don't. Maybe it could have gone for like a quick search Luminous onto Monkey Dory, but I prefer as well, because we only play the one Luminous, and we don't run like a copy of Dark. Once, you know, that Monkey Dory gets knocked out one time, that Luminous is in the discard, and then it's not usable again. So I typically won't attach it early to the monkey until I'm like ready to use it in a more pivotal moment. So that's why I didn't attach it this turn. Just because I would not have gotten much value out of it, and I don't want my monkey to be like bossed up and knocked out and then lose my one Luminous when I know it's going to be a bit more critical later on in the game. So that is an option I think that I considered as well, but that either that or the Luminous is just prize and I haven't realized it doing this voiceover. But those are kind of the two big things that I was looking at there as to why I grabbed the rare candy instead. And then, yeah, we're just kind of watching them go. They don't bump the Artisan with Spike Myth here. I don't think. They might. I could be okay, they do. Just misremembering. I know there was like a time, maybe it's later on in this game, when like it felt like a stadium bump would have been the right move for them and it just didn't happen. But maybe I'm tweaking. I get the early Grimmsnarl, which is a bit scary because we are not going to be hitting anywhere near a knockout right away. And we're, you know, like I said, quite a bit behind on Zard. But this is, what do you call it? This is why I didn't want to give them all that damage, because look, now they have 2 monkeys, and they could have bossed up a Charmander, moved 60 damage over to the other Charmander, and then they would have taken out both my Charmanders. So that was kind of why I did not swing with Assault Landing there. Because I know that with just the 20 max damage that they had to work with, like my Charmanders are going to be pretty safe. So, and they did end up bossing up the Monkey Dory even without the energy being attached to it. So, yeah, no, I'm happy with both those decisions, I think, so far at this point in the game. And we were able to hold the Ultra Ball Candy, so we'll be able to get into Zard this turn. Just trying to decide which Mander I wanted to evolve there, so I went with the one that had less damage to be a Charmeleon, and then the one with more damage can be a Charizard, just to prevent that from being knocked out from like a single round of monkeys, basically. I mean, still totally within range of Monkey plus Shadow Bullet, unfortunately. So that's something that I'm also considering here as far as, like, do I want to swing into the Grimmsnarl for 210 and then have them basically 60 damage that they can just play with after that? Which feels really bad, because essentially that means that I'm only hitting the Grimmsnarl for 150, and then I'm hitting myself for 60. So not exactly my favorite situation. So instead of considering just swinging into the Grimmsnarl, which is, like I said, pretty much just like swinging into myself, I'm looking at the boss's orders in my hand and kind of deciding if I want another target to attack instead. Also, this is a cool trick that you can do with Infernal Rain and Runaway Draw, is if you accelerate energy onto your Dunsparce with Infernal Rain, then when you use Runaway Draw, you know that you're not going to be drawing into that energy, and then it gets put back in the deck anyways. So it kind of prevents drawing into fire energy when you don't want it, which a lot of the time with Zard. So that's just kind of like one of those kind of cool little tricks that you can do to give yourself slightly better odds. But it's actually, I think, kind of an important one. So glad that I got to show it off there. And with our quick search, looks like we're just treating this basically as an artisan, because there's not much else that we need right now. But I do want to make sure that I will have access to a later game Charizard when it is going to be needed, because I have a feeling that I'll lose at least one Zard this game, and they'll probably be able to take out one of the benched one, either the benched Charmeleon, pretty easily as well. So the reason I go for the Frostlass here instead of the monkeys is because they already have energy on both monkeys. So the Frostlass becomes kind of the priority target in that situation, because if I deny them the Frostlass damage, then I'm denying their Monkey Dory's damage to throw back at me. Whereas, so I'm basically going from like 60 damage to 0 damage, versus if I just took out one of the Monkey Dories, I'd be going from 60 damage to 30 damage. Especially now with them getting another Monkey Dory set up with the Dark Energy, I'm very, very happy that I targeted the Frostlass instead. But if there's like a situation where they have like 2 Frostlass and then 1 Monkey Dory with energy, then I would be targeting down the Monkey Dory instead, because now they're building up a bunch of damage on their end that they can't quite throw back at me, at least not right away. So if you're looking at what kind of to target, that's usually my mindset, is like, how many monkeys in play have an energy attached already? If there's 2 or more, I'll typically go after the Frostlass. If there's less, then I'll typically target down the Monkey Dory with an energy. Kind of just a one way of looking at it. That's not a one-size-fits-all solution, but it's as close as you can get, really. Okay, so they swung into Zard. And they've done, what do you call it? Some damage onto my bench as well. So at this point, I'm still not, like, they didn't take another knockout. So I'm now hitting into Grimmsnarl for 30 less than I was before. So instead of 150, now I'm just hitting Grimmsnarl for 120 because they have the 3 Monkey Dories set up. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to hit Grimmsnarl for 120 and hit myself for 90. That sounds absolutely insane. So as much as our bosses are a pretty precious resource, I feel like this is kind of my best play. To boss into one of their monkeys and take a knockout that way. And then once I lose this Charizard and I go down in prizes a little bit, then we'll be able to think about swinging into a Grimmsnarl. But right now it just makes absolutely no sense to do so. So we're just going to take out the monkey that gives them free retreat, because that's also taking away their pivot option, which isn't like a ton of value, but it is some value. So we'll go for that. Nothing much off the prizes, unfortunately. So we're going to lose the Zard here. But because we took out the Frostlass, we're not going to lose the Charmeleon because they have no damage on their side of the field to work with. So the most they can send over is the 30 from the Shadow Bullet. Whereas if that Frostlass had stayed in play, we would have been considerably more sketched out. We are down 2 bosses, however, by this point, so not super happy about that. But once we get into the later stages of the game, we can more easily swing into Grimmsnarl and not have to worry about needing a gusting option. So I'd rather burn my bosses early onto those priority targets like we have been doing, versus saving them for the end of the game when I'd rather just be hitting the active anyways. So I thought maybe they were toying with the idea of evoing this turn to get their Frostlass, but I guess it's not the hugest deal, because they don't have to worry about me using Double Monkey or Phantom Dive or anything to take out their Snow Runt, so I can see why they wouldn't. Okay, so this is the turn where I make a massive misplay. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of interested to watch this one back because I have like zero idea what I was thinking here. I'm gonna blame the cat. The cat was crawling all over my keyboard during this game. So let's see. I won't say what I do. Let's see what we think. So what I want is I want to get Monkey Dory back into play, and I want to get a new Charizard established. Those are kind of the 2 goals for this turn. So we use Super Rod to make sure that we have enough energy and the Monkey Dory back in the deck. And then here's where I think I make a bit of a misjudgment, is I prioritize the Monkey Dory when I feel like maybe prioritizing the Charizard would have made more sense. So I used the Runaway Draw to try to get, hopefully, like an Ultra Ball would have been ideal, or an Artisan, or any way to get into a Monkey Dory. But I don't, so right now I'm quick searching for the Monkey Dory, I'm pretty sure. So let's see what else. We could have quick searched for the Zard, of course. And then that would have also thinned out 2 energy. But for some reason, I'm thinking here that I'll prio the monkey, and then for sure I'll hit the Zard off of this Iono, which, spoiler alert, does not happen. Like, not even close. So I guess if I would have done it again, I guess I could have quick searched for the Zard, evolved Infernal Rain, would have gotten 2 energy out of the deck, which would have slightly increased my odds of getting into the monkey. And also getting into the monkey this turn was not, like, it's not saving me from anything. And then this is the second mistake I make, is I Adrenabrain off of the Pidgeot. Which I guess this one, I should have Adrenabrain off the Charmeleon. Oh, let's see. 50, 230. I mean, it doesn't matter either way, but it basically lets them monkey. Yeah, it does matter because they were able to monkey mid-turn onto the Charmeleon. They could have knocked it with Shadow Bullet either way, but they were able to monkey mid-turn onto the Charmeleon. Which was silly. I don't know how I think I was tilted from missing the Zard off the Iono and from prioritizing the monkey when I should have prioritized the Zard, so I didn't make the right play after that. So yeah, I mean, you know, it's easy to let one mistake snowball into another mistake, I think is the call out here. So I think that's just something to kind of be aware of. And even if you are aware of it, like it's gonna happen. Like you're never gonna fully prevent that. It's just kind of interesting where like literally that's it. But you know, I have my safety net, I have my enriching energy, so I'm able to draw some cards here, which lets me get into a Charizard. So then I can quick search for the rare candy that I need, get their stadium out of here. So thanks to the enriching energy, I still have enough draw power to put the pieces together that I need to keep this game going. What were you doing, dude? If you clicked that Dunsparce there, that would have been crazy work. Okay. So, you know, I that is kind of why, like, even though this feels like a bit of a meme deck, right? That's why it still feels like maybe there's something here, because that enriching energy does come up and it is very powerful in moments like this. So I don't know, something that I'm gonna keep messing with it. Just kind of curious to see like where I can take this archetype, because I do think it is pretty powerful. But thanks to the monkey, we're able to get enough damage. No, wait, no, we're hitting for 330. Never mind. We were doing enough without the monkey anyways. But we're able to heal the Pidgeot up a little bit, which this is why I'm saying, like, prioritizing the monkey was the mistake, and it's really not even giving me that much value. So there was no reason to put that much of a risk into whiffing on the Charizard when yeah, the monkey's just not that much added value. But you know, this is the power of the Zard, is that now we've got a board state where what are they going to do? There's no way for them to take, well, okay, never mind. They win off boss, right? But then they had Iono. They can't counter catcher because they took themselves down to one prize card. And so yeah, like, yeah, they could have won off boss that turn very easily. But with counter catcher being out of range for them, then we're sitting pretty good. We still have one boss left, so just bring up the other Snarl Man and then call it a day. So pretty fun game. This, like I said, I think definitely worth dubbing over and salvaging this recording because it was like an interesting one. I think it showed off a lot of the strengths of this deck. So let me know down in the comments. Give this deck a few rips. Let me know what changes you're going to make, what you think is strong, what you think is worthless. I would really like to workshop this one with you guys, so hit me up.